Hello everybody, this is Karan Singh from Optimal Loans, and today we'll be discussing all the closing costs involved in a real estate transaction. So first we'll look at the costs and talk about them and understand them, and then we'll dive a little deeper and look at a real-time scenario to give you guys actual numbers. Alright, so first you have your escrow fee. Now let's take a step back and look at the transaction as a whole so we can better understand what escrow fees mean. So in a purchase transaction, you, the buyer, is buying a house, and the seller who owns the property is selling the house. You, the buyer, has an agent who's representing you. The seller has an agent who's representing the seller. And then you have the lender who's financing this whole transaction. Now in the middle of all that, you have a title company, also known as an escrow company. And what they do is they make sure that everybody acts from a truthful standpoint. Now what does that mean to you? For example, say the seller, they make sure the seller is a rightful owner of the property, he's paid his taxes, so when you buy the home, it's clear, there's no liens on it, he's paid his contractors. Also, when the transaction closes, they ensure that from that point on, you will be the rightful owner of the property. So that's what an escrow company does. It's a very integral part of the whole transaction, and without them, a transaction will not function. Now second, you have your appraisal fee. Now what does an appraisal do? Well, an appraisal goes out to your property that you're going to buy. They inspect it from the inside, the outside, and they gather some market data from the last month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, and in the close proximity of that subject property, and they compare apples to apples to see how much similar homes have sold in the area. And then they give you an opinion of value, which is a very valid opinion. And it's very important to you, as it should be, because you're buying the property, and it's very, very important to the lender because you're financing the whole transaction. Third fee is an underwriting fee. In other words, you can call it a paperwork fee or an overhead the lender might have. So that's what that fee is. And in some cases, you might have a processing fee and a small little fee of a credit report fee. We're not going to be talking about that today. We're just talking about the main closing costs. All right, guys, you ready to get down and dirty on the board? Well, we live in the Bay Area, so you all know how hot the market is today. So we're going to look at a real scenario here in the Bay Area. So an average home today in the Bay Area costs about $800,000. Sorry about that, guys. The writing's not as pretty as me. And the down payment here would be on a purchase price like that. It would be a jumbo loan, so we have to put 20% down. It'll be around $160,000. Let's throw in the dollar signs. And if you subtract these two numbers, your loan amount will be $640,000. Based on this type of a scenario, now let's look at your actual closing costs. Starting off with escrow fees, your escrow fees will be $3,000. Now if you're doing a refinance and not a purchase, your escrow fees will be half of that. Which will be around $1,500 because you won't have an owner's title policy. But if we're going off of this scenario and you're purchasing a property, your escrow fees will be $3,000. The second fee, which is appraisal fee, will be around $550. Now it could be a little less than that, but I always like to overestimate a little bit to give you realistic numbers. The third fee, which is your underwriting or admin fee, will be around $995. And your total comes out to $4,545. Now I know that sounds like a lot of money, but don't be alarmed. We're doing really well. Today's market, the rates are really doing well. So what you can do is you can request your lender, and in most cases you'll get a rebate, which will cover some of your closing costs, and in some cases it can even cover all your closing costs. It just depends on your credit score and your scenario. So don't hesitate to ask your lender for that rebate. And if you're a first-time home buyer, just to let you know, these are your closing costs. You will have taxes, insurance, that'll be an add-on which you need to bring in, but they're not your closing costs. All right, folks, well, if this was useful to you, please leave us some feedback and share this with your family and friends. Once again, this is Karan Singh from Optimal Loans. Until next time.